Hey, everybody, this is James Young with my good friend Devin. We have a very special guest today. Tell them who you are.
I'm Educator Andrea.
But you already knew that because you follow her. She has a lot of followers. All right, guys, on this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, we talk a crazy senator who's making some wild accusations. We also talk about teachers misusing funds to buy some pretty amazing things for students. Is it really wrong? It still is. I want you guys to go ahead and tune in. Be sure to give us 5 stars, and we will see you guys there.
Hey everybody, this is Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. I'm here with my good buddy, Mr. James Young. He's a comedian, he's a parent, and I myself was a teacher. I am a comedian, and I am also a parent. And I have a special guest, Educator Andrea. You may know her from TikTok. You may know her from Instagram. You may know her from MySpace. I don't know how far back you go.
Yeah, I had a MySpace.
She doesn't even know what
I
that is.
actually saw her on blackpeoplemeet.com.
You did?
Yes.
I did too. Yeah.
Right next to Christian Mingle, Plenty of Fish, all those.
That.
All those. Tinder, Fire, Forest Fire, I don't know. Whatever.
Just make stuff up.
Yeah, they just have a bunch now.
Gotcha.
Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to rate this 5-star. Be sure to share with your friends and follow us online. CIMC Podcast on Instagram and Crying in My Car Podcast on all other platforms. And also follow Educator Andrea because she puts out some of the coolest, sarcastic, kind of funny clips. We were asked to have, I kind of got a little, we've been moving up, let's just say.
A little bit.
Because of your support, we've been moving up. And they were like, do you want to bring in any guests? And I was like, out of state? And they're like, yeah, we'll fly them in, give them a hotel, and wine and dine them, essentially. And I was like, you know what? I said I would, and you were the first person I thought of.
That's right.
Yeah, because I watch your videos, and you know the high school level, the sarcasm, the I think honestly just like the deadpan dry, like the world is over mentality.
Right,
I was like, she's just as miserable as me.
Yeah, it's just like that dead inside energy that we give off.
There
you go.
It's really just, perfect. But I was like, I watch your videos a lot, and I like them. Every time one comes up, I'm like, you know what? That's fantastic. That's funny. That's great, and very relatable. And I think you've got over 100,000 followers now on Instagram.
Yes, yeah, I just finally hit that like a couple weeks ago.
Do you remember your first video?
Oh, gosh.
Or like the first time you were like, I'm going to do a teacher clip, or...
I started making a couple. I have one that I made like the first week that was super memorable though, because it went viral on TikTok like within the first week. And I was basically telling a story about when I first started teaching and I caught a student giving another student some help under the table with a blanket. And I basically told a quick story about how I had like scolded them and didn't handle it great because I was just like kind of like treated them like if like a dog was like humping a kid. And I was like, hey, stop it. Like, get off.
Wait a minute.
Spray bottle.
I literally
No.
But I didn't know what else to do. So I just kind of was like, oh my God, stop. And then
I wouldn't know what to do either. I would freeze.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
And like they had been dating and they were sitting next to each other.
I would hope so.
No, but they had broken up the previous week. And like,
Well, that's how you get back together.
That is.
well, it's apparently he had like moved on, but she was still helping.
Holding on.
Yeah.
Holding on. Had not let go of that part of the relationship yet, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was one of the early ones. And then I was like, well, and that had been like at a former school and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to keep this up now?
Yeah. Once you start at that point,
Right.
it's kind
Where
of
does
hard
it-
to maintain.
No.
You know, it's like if Prince had done Purple Rain the first day.
Yeah.
We'd be
It's
like,
just, that's it.
where does
That's
it go
the
from here?
pinnacle.
I will tell you, there's one thing that I have noticed watching all of your guys' teacher videos. The first video from you guys always seems like a cry for help. It really does.
yeah.
Well, it's a coping skill, right?
it
Like, I
has
think
to be.
I think that's really what it comes down to with all my videos is I'll get so angry about something. And I'm like, I know I'm not the only one. I know we're all dealing with this. And I try and make it kind of funny in a way that other people can kind of relate and be like, okay, I'm not alone. Like, I too had that.
And that's what the comments usually reflect. Like, it's so weird, but I would put out videos on my end. I did it before any TikTok, anything like that. I was just putting out on Facebook, and I would get the comments from teachers going, "Oh my gosh, you too," you know, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's in your classroom too," and then you too, "Oh my, me too," everybody, and it was so many people that were like, "Yeah, same."
And even with that video, the first one that was like really crazy, I had so many, and it wasn't teachers, it was students saying, "Remember when so-and-so did that?" And the other, like, so many of them were talking about their own experience.
Were they tagging them? Remember when Sarah?
They were. They're like, "Remember when you did this?" And we're like tagging them.
And then people responded, "Oh my God, yeah, that was crazy.
Yes. Exactly.
That was so wild. Yesterday was fun."
Right?
Yeah, but that's one of the mild things. I mean, I've heard students that, we had a stairway that had underneath the stairs area.
Oh, yeah.
And, it was literally like Stephen King, people under the stairs, because you didn't want to, you'd open the door and be like, "Hey, I'm about to come in here," and then you'd walk in and be like, "Okay,
all right, everything's clear."
It wasn't for them warning; it was for my warning.
Right.
It was like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
So
I do that every time I walk to my car because we have like these trailers and there's always kids just hooking up back there. So I'll walk and I'll be like, "I'm walking to my car and I don't want to see anything," and they like all like stop what they're doing and all of a sudden
hooking up in the parking lot. And under the table. So anyways, so what's it like teaching elementary school then? Is it? Welcome to 2023.
Right.
No, it's crazy. And I mean, that middle school was all like so much talk. And then high school, they don't talk, they act and they do things. And you're like, And that's why you never send two to the restroom at the same time. And I would always pay attention to the outside, and I'd see like a girl walk past, and then a kid would be like, "Hey, can I?" No.
Right, not happening. Right, when they like real suspiciously do the slow walk by the classroom and just kind of looking.
Yeah.
I mean, with phones now, they don't even really need to do that. They usually just text each other and are like meet in the bathroom. But honestly, the bigger problem is all the vaping in the bathroom right now. It is like
we didn't have
constant.
That. It's all everybody says that.
Yeah.
We did not in my school have any problem with drugs or vaping, and it was the weirdest thing. But it was not a thing. It just really wasn't. And it was a predominantly Hispanic school, so I don't know if that's kind of what, like, is it an ethnic thing too? Because I know that when I went to a school that was predominantly white, we had a lot of hard drugs. And
Really?
and then
like
I went
pills?
Then I went to a school that was predominantly black, and that went away. The hard drugs were a white kind of thing that happened, and then I went to but they did smoke. We'd see some smoking and stuff, and then I went to predominantly Hispanic, and there was none of that either.
None of it all.
Yeah, it was weird.
So my school is predominantly Hispanic, but it's in Southern California where weed's legal. So they are able to access it a little bit easier. I mean, it's not legal for them, not for them, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's supposed to be 18 and up. Then you're allowed to, smoke weed. But in the schools, it's crazy. I mean, the little cartridges and stuff. I once had a girl who, she called me over to ask for help on something on her Chromebook and was charging her vape pen on her computer. And like, I don't vape, so I didn't know what it was, but the way she reacted, like snatched it real quick and like, she's like, "Oh, you didn't see that." I'm like, well, now I have to do something about this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to mistake it. It would look like a USB drive.
Yeah, it's like a
it
flash
does.
drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looks, and so I would have probably thought that's exactly what it was, except for she just snitched on herself.
I think something's wrong with your USB drive.
Right.
It's smoking.
You shouldn't put that in your mouth.
It
It's gonna ruin the
smells
USB.
weird.
Right?
I can't imagine being a teacher nowadays and like not knowing like the vaping and seeing a kid like pop out the USB and be like,
Right?
and be like,
Whoa, what? That is not how you download.
yeah, what is this? I've done shows in different states where weed is like either legal or more lenient. And, I always joke about it with the teachers, but I would imagine it'd be like a teacher thing too. Like it's legal. It's no different than we had at my school teachers that smoked. I mean,
Really?
oh my, but it would be so funny because class periods would be like, boom, boom. doors would open. I see a teacher, and they'd go run down the stairs, and you see them out the window across the street.
Gotcha.
And then,
Smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I thought something
Okay,
different.
I thought you were saying they
Yeah.
were just like smoking blunts in
No,
the middle
they
of
smoke
passing
cigarettes.
period or something.
It's a
Okay,
very
got it.
progressive
Cigarette.
like campus.
Yeah, but cigarettes were legal the same way that weed is legal and other, and so they would smoke constantly.
Gotcha.
And you always had teachers that would smoke on like breaks and stuff in the teacher parking lot. And it was so funny to me because we as a district decided to make campuses tobacco free for everybody. Before it was teachers could smoke, but they changed it and were like tobacco free for everybody. So the teachers that would normally go out by their car and smoke, the car is on property. So they would instead go across the street in front of the main office. They're not on property. And you literally have a gathering of teachers out there like, hey, so anyways, what I was thinking is, and I'm like, it's so much more in the open.
Yeah.
They're literally,
It's so much worse.
They were out there by the bus loop. The kids are pulling out. They're like, have a good day. And it's just like, what are you doing?
There's the one teacher that's been there forever making shapes with the
Right.
smoke.
A little F. That's your grade. Not just in your school, but like at a district level, has it been brought up about teachers smoking weed? Because I've seen some like lawsuits and stuff of teachers that are like, I got drug tested, but it's legal here. That's always the argument is I got drug tested and they're considering firing me, but it's legal here.
I don't know if there's been any cases like that. I don't know of anybody who's gotten in trouble for it.
California, I think they would just automatically default to.
No, they get more angry if you're not vegan as a teacher.
Right.
They'd be like, so you smoke weed? That's fine. After the burger or before? Because
You know what? I can't even look at you anymore.
in my office, you're going to sit on the pleather chair because we don't do that here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen any issues with it. I'm trying to even remember if I was drug tested before I started the job. I know they did like a physical and everything, but I don't think there was a drug test.
I got drug tested when I went to become a substitute, and that was ensuring that you were actively on drugs
They're
because
like,
you
let's
needed
tone
to.
it down.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. You have to get a physical?
This is the first school I had to do that
Okay.
for, but it was for like their health insurance, which I'm like, are you not going to insure me? Like, what is happening?
Well, I know I can't get
They're
insurance.
like, sorry, you're not healthy enough.
Sir, you have type 3 diabetes. Please.
You couldn't do a pull-up. We're putting you on the ground floor.
I think it was just to make sure I could do like the minimal lifting and carrying things.
Okay.
Which also like
What would you? Yeah.
Right. Like I don't know. I got nothing.
That is odd. But so you enjoy, how long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 9 years.
9 years. So
Yes.
you're almost at the 10 year where you get a pin.
Right. Is
you
there a
go.
pen? Do
Or a
some
mug.
award?
Something.
Award?
Yeah.
A little like printed out piece of
We
computer
had a
paper.
pin, and it was the same pin that we got for 5, 10, 15, 20. And it was the same pin, just a
You
different
just
number.
got to put another
It
one
was
next
just a
to
different
it.
number. And you so far have gotten a lot of positive feedback from teachers. Do you get blowback from teachers too?
Always,
Really?
They're jealous.
Yes. So I do, one of the series that I do is like the elementary, middle, and high school one. And it's so funny to me because the middle and high school teachers are always like, oh, that's funny. I always get a few elementary teachers that are like, we're not happy like that.
They're so mad.
How dare you? And I'm like, I'm honestly just going off of like my experiences with my elementary teachers. The elementary teachers I know are just sweet humans full of creativity.
That's
and that's
my experience.
right. And these teachers are like, absolutely not. Like they
So,
are offended.
Here's the best part about that. They're offended that you portray them as happy.
I know.
How dare you?
Yeah. I did the video of the decorating of the rooms a while ago. It was elementary, showed them decorating the rooms, and then it went to me as a high school teacher decorating my room, and I had bare walls, and I just was like, this is it.
Yep,
Yeah.
there
And,
it is.
yeah, and then there's high school teachers. I decorate my rooms. It's a sign of a good environment and this and that. And I'm like, well, give me a break.
Right.
You know?
It's a joke.
And plus, when
Yeah,
you teach,
I'm
when you
joking.
decorate all the stuff, you know what you're doing, teachers? You're putting all the stuff on the wall.
Yeah.
And then within 2 weeks, they're going, can you tape over that? Because we have testing in here. Can you put this down? Because we have testing. You got to cover it up because of testing. And half the year it's covered up because you're testing half the year. And then you're like, it doesn't make any sense, to keep having it up. And plus, I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if you know this, James. Teachers are price gouged because we're educators and they know we need that poster. Do you realize that I would go to like the Learning Center or the Learning whatever, the Learning Curve, I think was the place that I would go to. And I was like, I just need a few posters for my room, few history posters, maybe a president posters. And it would be like $80 for like 5 posters. Because they were price gouging teachers because they were thinking that schools would pay for it or things like that. It's the price is always higher. VHSs and DVDs in the class. Do you know if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to show, I don't know, the timeless classic Roots.
Yes.
In my class.
Oh, one of my faves.
Yeah, I would want to show Roots. Do you
Gotcha.
realize I can't just go buy the DVD and show it, supposedly?
No.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
We would never copyright infringe in a classroom.
I would have to buy it from a source,
Yes.
which is it would sell me the DVD for like $150
That's insane.
because it has the license for distribution that I can show it to multiple people.
Good Lord. So
It's brutal.
basically, it's a lose-lose for you guys.
The thing that always gets me is, the giant Post-it boards?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're huge. They're great. They're like $40. And like, I don't know who these teachers are that like constantly have them in their rooms. I always see like everyone on social media, it seems, has those but me. And my district doesn't provide them. And so I was like, I'll just get some. Those are great. And I'm like, I will not be getting those.
Yeah.
Our school had some extra money and they chipped in and got a giant whiteboard, like an easel kind of thing. And I have a huge whiteboard in the front of my class, but they got me a whiteboard, an easel whiteboard. And I was like, wow, I don't need this. And I
is
put it in the
unnecessary.
corner of my room.
And
And the very first day of the next year, the district came in and they said, we're here with your brand new whiteboard easel. They brought in another one the next year. I had 2. So they were like, we really want you to use them. So I wrote on it, pointless whiteboard 1, pointless whiteboard
Whiteboard
2. And I had them just sitting in the corner. And I never used them. And I don't know why they were a fortune too. Like these were professional, like really nice aluminum stand-up whiteboards. Made no sense whatsoever.
waste.
But yeah, but everything was a waste. I always thought that, we wasted so much money on certain things. And what got to me at the education level is how much we would allocate, but we would allocate for one specific thing and it couldn't go elsewhere. They'd be like, you have $500 to spend on a Holocaust book, and that's all you can buy. And if you don't use the $500 to buy that one Holocaust book, you can never buy anything else ever again.
Yep.
And you'd be like, well, I guess I'm buying the Holocaust
got
book.
a book, yeah.
Right.
And you'd buy it, and you'd money left over? No.
And what they'll do too is they'll wait until like the very end of the fiscal year and they'll be like, by the way, you have $3,000 to spend on books for your class library. You have 2 days to select the books. Go. And if you don't spend the money, you don't get it next year.
Yeah,
And then
you
that's
lose it.
Wow.
It's gone. And you're like, oh.
And there's only one book, the Holocaust book.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. All right, let's jump into the teachers in the news.
My favorite.
Las Vegas teacher gets probation for stealing pandemic education money. Her name is Andrea.
It wasn't me.
Not this one, yeah.
Andrea pleaded guilty to felony theft in Clark County. As a result of the plea deal, she received probation. Apparently, she asked if she would like to comment or apologize in court and declined. Typical teacher. But anyways, it says that apparently multiple teachers at a school in the Las Vegas area, Southwest campus, were part of a conspiracy to steal $154,000 in COVID-19 funding through Donors Choose. Yeah, apparently they were all given up to $954 for a classroom project to spend during COVID and decided to create their own classroom projects using fake names, multiple teacher accounts, and apparently the principal was in on it and approved everything that went through. So they were able to rack up a ton of stuff, 169 projects, and there was a group chat among the 6th grade teachers joking about the theft. Yeah, apparently the one teacher that they pressed charges and she got 2 years probation had 16 accounts that she had 35 items. In her classroom, she had kitchenware, a 70-inch television, an Apple TV, and 27 items, including iPads, Star Wars figures, and Power Ranger toys with a value of $3,500. And apparently she had text messages between her and her husband where she said, anything else we need the state to buy? And he said, a laptop, LOL. And also, Pop's Power Rangers. Funko Pops.
What?
So apparently the husband wanted Funko Pop Power Rangers, and
That's
apparently
the
she bought
embarrassing
them.
part of that story.
Yeah, that's the worst part. I think I would be like, you know what? I'll do a year in jail if we just leave that part out.
Right.
But she got no jail time. Probation.
Yes,
probation?
Yeah, she got probation, 2 years probation. So I'm thinking it's worth it.
Wait, why was she the only one?
That's the thing is it said the principal agreed to a plea deal, and apparently the other ones, I guess the charges are still pending. So
She's the first.
the principal approved all of it and apparently pleaded guilty to gross misdemeanor charge of conspiracy to commit theft and received credit for time served, and that was it.
So she got nothing.
But she approved everything.
Did she lose her job or?
I imagine.
Well,
but,
in that school.
Right.
yeah.
But at the
She's
next
elsewhere
one.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, after noticing she'd been caught, sent out an email said, I will not approve any more donors choose that are not real names. You mean my bend over Power Ranger is not getting approved? But yeah, 21 accounts for this other one. Oh my gosh.
They went nuts, though.
Oh,
They
it
went
says one
crazy.
teacher purchased 6 Nintendo Switches, an Apple TV, and 2 drones.
Teacher has good taste, but yeah.
Can I be honest? Like, what a cool school to work at. You know, we got you each a Switch.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use this drone over top of you while you play it.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. Apparently, they all still have active teaching licenses, so they are allowed to teach again, which is interesting. So apparently, the kids were very happy with this, you know. And what's funny is the wild thing to me is that they confiscated it from the classroom. They actually used it, 70-inch TV in the classroom.
Kind of sweet
I
that
think that would be kind of cool.
Oh, they're like
Right?
the Robin Hood of
Yes,
teachers.
they robbed it and gave it to the kids. So is that really? Is that really?
Yeah,
so
that's still
bad?
a crime. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, but let's think about all the
That's
senators
nice.
that took PPP loans out and, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and those were forgiven. I mean,
Yeah.
a kid wants an Apple iPad. What am I? I don't know.
Who am
you know?
I not to get it for?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, this is an interesting one. So, a Minnesota senator ranted about sex ed in schools and kicked constituent teachers out of his office. Apparently, there were 2 teachers that went to go meet with this particular senator, and he allowed them into the office to talk about inadequate special education funding.
Okay.
They said that when the meeting happened, the meeting was abruptly ended when the senator kicked them out of office and accused them of teaching kids to be gay and to hate white people. And so the teachers say that during the meeting, he became hostile when they found out he was a member of the teachers union. The conversation went downhill, and he got in one of the teachers' faces and basically accused them of being pedophiles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is the very definition of that escalated
You know,
quickly.
it sounds...
yeah, like,
I don't know.
well, I'm not a teacher, so guys, explain to me how you put that in a lesson plan.
Yeah.
Become gay, hate all white people. how
Well-
do you guys tackle that?
I don't know. This guy said that's not true. He
Okay,
said he
yeah.
denies the report. However, he did send an email out to all of his constituents saying that they were flushing education down the toilet and that most of the schools were now populating themselves with books about BJs, masturbation, and porn. So he said the teachers are perverted and wrong and should not be in the schools. So. You know, I'm thinking their story might have been true. You know, I think that,
Right. If that's the response.
yeah. Now I don't know if you've seen ZZ Top, but this guy, the guy that's in, yeah. But you know what? I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I went to his Twitter account.
Yeah.
This Minnesota senator, which by the way, if you'd like to look up this Minnesota senator, his name is Nathan Weissenberg, Wesenberg. Weissenberg, Nathan is a senator, and he went to his Twitter account, and it is
colorful.
Very.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
full of hate. It is instantly anti-trans stuff. It is instantly anti-gay stuff. It is instantly anti-everything that he's told he should be afraid of.
Gotcha.
And so this guy, he's got, I don't think that maybe he's listening to the constituents,
Not at all.
I hate to say that, but, not a good representative. Okay, this is a weird one. So a teacher gave an emotional lesson. Now, have you ever talked off the cuff in class?
Constantly.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
You talk about life lessons sometimes.
Yeah.
You break off. I used to do a thing every Friday that my students loved. Every Friday was called Life Lesson Friday. And I would teach them about taxes. I teach them about getting a car loan. I teach them about getting a mortgage. I would teach them about the real experience in college and student loans, how you pay them off, what forbearance is, deferment. I would literally talk to them about life. I called it Life Lesson Friday. The kids loved it. It was my way to get them there, too, because I had a higher attendance on Friday because they knew they would learn something that they might need.
Actually,
now, I kept them on track with the rest of the curriculum, but I decided that I needed to help them a little bit with life lessons. Well, there was a teacher at Spanaway Lake High School, and apparently last month she recounted her son's troubled life and eventful death by police. Apparently, police shot and killed her son, revealing intimate personal details for an hour in a lecture to students that broached sensitive topics of themes of mental health, drug use, and violence. She was visibly emotional during it and apparently explained why she went into teaching so that she could pass her story off down to the children, and went on and on about her personal story, how they could avoid it. Apparently, she's retiring in June, and she said this was her last year telling the story. So she's told the story multiple years to students. Well, apparently parents want answers as to why she was not teaching the curriculum. They said that many rules must have been broken. She apparently was recorded and by a student, and the student put it on YouTube and called it Teacher Mental Health Breakdown, even though it was them telling a personal story about their son. So apparently the district's looking into it and said the teacher's conduct and the conduct of the student that recorded the class were basically
Questionable.
questionable, yeah. And so anyway, she was placed on leave and said that they are trying to get the video removed from YouTube. And so who knows? But apparently it was a very raw cautionary tale that she was kind of trying to deliver, and said that she was trying to basically she was a great teacher trying to deliver a personal experience through her own life to the kids, a teachable moment, a life lesson. This is what I went through. This is where I am now. Here's why I am, and am who I am, and backfired.
Gosh, that's so heartbreaking, especially
Yeah.
because when you do bare your soul to your students and you're trying to reach them, because I guarantee you she probably had a kid in that class that she saw and was like, this kid is going down that
Yep.
path. They need to understand viscerally why that's not a good idea. And, trying to reach out to them, and then another kid filmed it and has now damaged her. It just, and
then trashed everything she was
Yes,
trying to accomplish
right, and,
by doing.
It says in her lecture, she reflected on her divorce from her previous husband, the family's move to escape gangs, and having her son arrested for domestic violence. And when he broke household items, and apparently cops showed up, and he was having a mental health crisis and was shot and killed by the police. And apparently she showed some photos of him hooked up to the ventilators and going through something like that and being willing to tell the story is an emotional thing.
Absolutely.
But, it's so crazy because I know there was kids probably that were touched by that story and were like, you know what? I don't want that to be me. Especially sometimes you teach in these areas that are riddled by stuff like that, and you don't want kids to become a statistic, and you have to tell them how close they are to being a statistic. Somebody, and that's the thing, man. The human aspect of teaching has gone away. That's the sad part, is we're no longer humans anymore. We're regurgitating tape dispensers that are here to tell exactly what is in front of us on a piece of paper, and any sort of variation. It's so sad,
You can be sued. You can lose your license.
Yep. Good news, though, on the positive side, Rebecca Peterson. I'd love to have her on the show, by the way. It was named the National Teacher of the Year. We have a National Teacher of the Year from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And apparently she's a math teacher, I believe, is what I saw earlier in something. But she is now the National Teacher of the Year. I don't know about you, but I would like your opinion. would you want to be National Teacher of the Year?
I don't even know what is like involved in that. Honestly.
I would want nothing to do with
Can you imagine
ever
the
being
pressure?
That's exactly
The pressure.
Really?
After that? Oh
Do
my!
you realize, like,
Oh.
if you called down, there's a fight in my classroom. Oh, the National Teacher of the Year can't handle it.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
You sit
All
down
right.
for 1 second and your admin shows up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're National Teacher of the Year sitting down on the job,
The
huh?
other teachers walking past.
Oh,
Oh,
the
it's loud
hate.
in there.
Oh, the
That's
hate.
the National
It would be
Teacher of the
so
Year.
I
is-
didn't
brutal.
think of that. You're
Oh, yeah.
absolutely right.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine? But mathematics and science teaching, apparently she had a different way of teaching math. And got a video message from Jill Biden. Great. I think they get like $10,000, I want to say. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't
I can put
know
up
what
with
it
a lot
is.
of hate with $10,000, y'all.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
I honestly, like, if people come by, oh, National Teacher of the Year, I would just pull out my money and be like,
Right,
what?
just
I'm
fan
sorry.
yourself with it.
Couldn't hear you.
Can't hear you over all this cash.
Exactly. All right. This substitute teacher responded with concerns over a photo with transgender claims. Now, I'm weird on this one because I don't see what the issue is, but it's from a very conservative area.
Okay.
There was an elementary school substitute teacher that showed up to school in a dress and was non-binary. They said they're non-binary. Now, somebody took a picture of a male-looking individual in a dress with long hair and said, this is what our kids are being given as substitute teachers. And they went off on it. You know, they shouldn't be allowed in schools. Look at what they're trying to do to our kids, you know, this and that. And the person, they interviewed them and they're like, you know, trans people shouldn't be teachers. And they were like, actually, I'm not trans. I'm just non-binary. And that's why I chose to wear that day. And get this, it's from such a conservative area that the substitute company is looking into firing them and saying that they were out of outfit. They weren't in a professional attire. I saw the picture, by the way, and they were in a regular long dress. So, I mean, I sit there and the district issued a statement saying schools should be safe, welcoming, and inclusive spaces for all, but also without distractions. So it includes the expectations that adults who interact with the students present a professional appearance and does not cause a distraction. Following this morning's situation, we have had a conversation with our students and the substitute, and apparently they are reiterating expectations for appearance for adults in school going forward. So
when you started teaching, did you have gender-based dress code rules for you? Because at every job that I can remember, it would have like separate dress code for men and women.
yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
we did. Yeah.
Okay.
But this one, I don't think was a violation of either.
I just wonder. Here's my only thing, and I'll say that.
You know who
how
had no problem with this? Probably the kids when
Yes,
they walked in.
I was gonna say that. The biggest people, the ones that are gonna see this person the most, won't care, one way or another. They're like, we don't care.
What they're gonna think is sweet, a sub
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that's
Yeah,
all
they're
they
just
care.
excited
Yes,
that there's
a
a sub.
movie.
Yeah, they're like movie day.
Yeah.
We're not doing
that's
anything.
it.
You know, I think about when I was a kid, Miss Frizzle took the entire school bus in a trip through the digestive tract and out the butthole of an unsuspecting individual, and
Yes.
nobody
Yeah.
said anything.
Right.
No.
But this person
She didn't even ask. She didn't even ask for
She didn't
consent.
ask. She
Yeah,
didn't
she just did it.
just went in to the digestive tract.
You make a good point.
Yep.
Good
but
point.
no, but honestly, I never really cared as a
Yeah,
kid.
no
you
one's
know?
gonna care.
I don't know. I just don't know that it really mattered. I think adults are reacting for the kids and the kids and making it a big deal for the kids when the kids would never even care about it. You know, I just don't think that I had students. It's so funny because we had a policy change in our school. We had trans students in the school.
Yeah.
And there was, you know, the decision handed down that they could use the bathroom of their preference. You know, if they were, you know, male to female, they could use the female restroom. And I'll never forget, it was like, hey, you can do that. And I remember the students going, oh, we already do that. And I was like, what?
What?
You guys do? They're like, yeah. Like, she comes in with us. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And they're like, yeah, he comes in with us too. It's like, oh. And they're like, yeah, What do you? Like we were so
Why-
far
why did
behind
you
the
guys
times.
make a
They're,
rule?
they're like, what are you doing?
Who cares?
Like, yeah.
It's just, again, you never know. You never know. But I feel bad for the substitute, and I feel bad for substitutes in general. I don't know that I don't know how we have them anymore, especially in the state of Florida. Do you realize what a substitute makes in our school?
No.
$80 a day.
$80.
8-hour workday, $80. You can work as a substitute, or you can double your pay, and you can go work at McDonald's.
Yes, you can.
Where you don't get disrespected, And I never understood. And the substitute the substitute has a harder job than the actual teacher, I think, because they don't have a repertoire with the kids.
No.
They are usually thrown a half-butt lessons plan that's not ready.
No.
And also they most of the time don't get planning. Like a teacher, I would have 45 minutes to plan. I know all the substitutes would be pulled to other classrooms. They'd be like, hey, you're planning 6, but we need you over in room 107 instead. So now you're working the full day without your break that you would have normally been entitled to as a teacher. You're not pulling me to cover a class during my break. You better call the union and tell them why you're taking away my time.
Absolutely.
And so the substitutes were just walked on. They were not, and I never understood how they kept coming back. I mean, had to be a passion thing.
$10 an hour to shape the minds of our future.
And put up with this stuff.
Yes.
I mean,
what's minimum wage here?
Minimum wage is, I think, like $7.25.
$7.25
okay.
or meth.
Yeah.
It's Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, the meth's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like the top meth.
I've only lost 3 teeth. Yeah.
It's pure.
It is.
But no, I don't understand the mentality of becoming a substitute teacher. I wish I could do it, but I did it for one day.
They're special people.
I quit. I did it for one day and quit.
Yeah.
You tried.
I was a teacher, and then we had budget cuts, and I became a substitute. I remember I did it for one day, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
It was that
I will
bad.
wait till I become a teacher.
Gotcha. Well, salute to all you substitutes out there who are hanging in there.
Especially in high school. But I think, little kids have it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I think they're more generous to a substitute. My kid, when he comes home, he's like, there was a substitute today, and, we did this, and it was fun, and, but I think the older you get, the more you see, and you can take advantage of them.
Yeah. I remember being in school. I'm not a teacher, but I remember being in high school, and some kids would walk in, see a substitute, walk right out.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, literally just walk.
Yeah, they'd just be like, I don't have to be in class today.
Yeah, I would be like, bro, where are we going?
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm joking.
Or give a fake name,
Yeah.
or just not be in their assigned seats or whatever.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So for the subs out there, we love you, but we want to give you a little bit of advice. I've got my top 10 pieces of advice to give a sub to help control the classroom. Number 10, cry uncontrollably. The more teary-eyed and ugly faced you can get, the better it is. I think so. Number 9, speak often about your criminal record and the background check they missed. Just be like, man, I can't believe we got away with that. Anyways, what were we talking about?
Gotcha.
You guys wanted to go somewhere? Number 8, just show American Psycho and keep talking about the good old days. I remember. Do you remember that? I remember we used to do that. The next one, number 7, get a temporary tattoo of several teardrops on your face. Complain every class that your face hurts because you subbed yesterday and had to add one.
I love that one.
In pain.
That one's good.
The next one, number 6, keep talking about the rabid badger in your desk and throw chicken bones in there occasionally to feed it. Down. I don't know. Where do I come up with this? Number 5, have America's Most Wanted playing when the kids come in and edit your face onto the mugshot. Turn it off quickly when that, sorry. What are you guys doing here? Anyways, and number 4, ask the neighboring teacher to watch the class while you need to pee, and then go to the car and play Candy Crush for the rest of the class period.
Sounds
because
right.
you know what? They don't know that you have obviously a problem.
No.
It takes a while. Number 3, sorry. Play Heads Up, 7-Up, but never touch anyone's thumb. Just tell them to lay there, and occasionally make noise. But it's a badger.
Yeah, it's a badger. Yeah.
Number 2, keep talking about how crazy it is that Judge finally lifted the 500 yards from the school ban for you.
Oh wow!
I never thought this day would come. I didn't think I'd see another inside of the school. And number 1, when the kids ask where the real teacher is, tell them that you were at a bar last night with many witnesses and you'd like a lawyer. That's just, you know what, kids, I don't know where they're at, and neither do you. You saw nothing.
You saw nothing.
Could you ever go substitute teaching?
Never. I have never subbed. My first day in control of a classroom was my first day after I had been hired as a teacher, because I didn't even do student teaching. They brought me on at a Title I district. They were really desperate for teachers, and I was in my teacher licensure program, but I had not done my student teaching yet. And so I was desperately trying to get a job because they don't pay you during student teaching. And so they hired me on a provisional license. So my first day in front of a classroom full of students was the beginning of that school year.
I thought it was great, but I would never substitute teach again, ever. I remember my first day, I was kind of thrown to the wolves like you. I went to teach middle school, and they told me I had 3 days to prep. They were put me in a little room, and I could go over the textbook and the materials and everything else. And I remember that that first day I was there, they're like, so the teacher that you were going to replace, he said he would give us a 2-week, and he just didn't show. So you're on. And they just threw me into a class, and I was like, so I was told I had stuff that I could prep for, and literally they're already waiting for you. And I was like, okay. And I just walked into the class and had to cold start,
that's
all right,
crazy.
let's do this. And it was just as nightmarish as you would think.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
My gosh. How long did it take you to kind of get your bearing?
It takes a while. I mean, you gotta kind of know the material first and foremost.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what I was teaching. I just knew what I was hired for. But, you often, so it's a good sign of how bad the class is when you walk in and the guy's coffee is still on the desk and it's warm and you're like, oh, he left.
Oh, he left.
He was like, you know what, not today.
Yeah, he was like, and literally all his stuff's still there. And they're like, yeah, he retired. And I'm like, mid-class?
He literally got, he brought his coffee intending to stay at work that day and just was like,
intending
nope.
to stay there for 2 weeks. And he literally was like, I'm retiring right now.
Wow.
And he did. And I wonder what that would, if he stood up and was like, I'm retiring because of you. I wonder if there was or if he just literally walked out. I don't know. Maybe.
And call me and let me know if you got into the KKK.
Oh my gosh, he really let the intrusive thoughts win that day. He's just like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Tapping out.
All right, educator Andrea, how can people find you?
I am on TikTok, Educator Andrea, and Instagram, Educator Andrea. There's an underscore between the two on Instagram. And my website, educatorandrea.com.
Oh, you got a website.
I do, and merch and all that good stuff.
James, how can people find you, my friend?
You can find me in any of your local Red Lobsters. I'll be there. No, you guys can actually follow me at James Yon Comedian. That's YON. And thank you all for all the support and following me. You guys have been great, all the teachers out there.
Yep, and Devin Siebold, devincomedy.com for all the upcoming tour dates, as well as booking information is all there as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and you'll be back next week too, right? You're going to do 2 episodes with us. Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks so much, and we'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that. But us. Suggested things, that's us, Crying in My Car, Devin Siebold, James Yon, board teachers, watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.